Happy New Year, or gelukkig nieuwjaar, as the Dutch say to one another. Gelukkig means happy, nieuw is new, and jaar is year. The last two words are easy. The first one, gelukkig, is kind of advanced. And so why am I starting this off with speaking to you in Dutch? Well, this is part 2 of a series I've called Paul Pronounces Dutch Words and Names. Because what I found out is, as a native Dutch speaker, I was born, raised and educated in the Netherlands before I moved to the United States. As a Dutch native speaker, I noticed that not too many people are familiar with the way Dutch sounds. And I can't blame you, because when do you ever get to listen to a Dutch person? When do you run into them? There are not too many of them. There's only 18 million people in the Netherlands. And some of them are not even Dutch in the Netherlands. But the Dutch language is a very minor language, very uninfluential, not as influential as English or French or Spanish or Portuguese or Arabic. It's not too many people speak Dutch, and so you don't hear it spoken often. And when you watch Dutch TV shows or Dutch movies, they're usually dubbed instead of subtitles, so you don't develop an ear for it. So I don't blame you if you don't know how to pronounce the names of Dutch words or the names of Dutch people correctly, and that's where I come in. Because I think somebody's name is very important. It says everything about who they are, literally, and their identity. And when somebody mispronounces your name, I think that causes a disconnect. Let's say you see a famous film star, let's say, and you call him Al Pacino. Al Pacino. That's not his name. His name is Al Pacino, right? It's not Al Pacino. So by mispronouncing his name, you're not even talking about the same person. Or let's say Jai Leno. Jai Leno, the famous talk show host, Jai Leno. No, it's not Jai Leno, it's Jay Leno. So that's why I think it's so important to pronounce someone's name correctly, because you're talking about somebody's identity, someone's personality, and it's kind of a sign of respect when you pronounce someone's name correctly. Now, the guy behind me that's been hiding between these two Dutch girls, did you notice they were wearing kind of Dutch national dress, sort of, is someone you probably have seen or heard of, but you might not know what his name is. Let me show him. Now let's move my big noggin away. Let's see, does this ring a bell? Let's look at his instrument he's holding. He's holding a violin. He's actually a conductor and arranger, and he's the founder of the Johann Strauss Orchestra. Johann Strauss was a Viennese composer of waltzes and all kinds of other stuff. He composed the Blue Danube. In fact, it's a family of composers. There's different Strauss, all named Strauss, but Johann Strauss was the most famous of them. So he is the leader of the Johann Strauss Orchestra, and they perform all over the world. And this guy, I'm going to tell you who he is in a minute, is the best-selling classical artist in the Netherlands. Well, classical, I mean kind of light classical, because he's not like Mahler and Bach and Schubert and Schumann and Beethoven, although he can, I'm sure he could conduct and play that repertoire as well. He's known for the lighter side, the operettas, the waltzes, and what have you. Very well known, has sold millions of CDs and DVDs. You'll see him on television specials. And he leads the orchestra from the front on his violin. And he's just this very warm, wonderful guy. And not only on TV, in real life as well. Because when the COVID pandemic hit, he couldn't perform anymore. It was just too dangerous. And his orchestra, he had to fire them because they had nowhere to go, nowhere to play. But instead of firing them, he paid all his members a full salary for the full duration of the pandemic, out of his own pocket. That's the kind of guy he is. Now, what is his name? First of all, let me tell you how I've heard an American pronounce his name. I went to Barnes & Noble the other day, and somebody was trying to find a CD, and he said to the salesperson, "Do you have any CDs by André Rieu?" André Rieu? "I don't know, sir," said the salesman. "How do you spell his last name?" "Well, it's R-I-E-U, André Rieu." And I said, excuse me, I'm Dutch. You don't pronounce it Rieu, it's Rieu. Rieu, André Rieu. That's his name, André Rieu. Now, it's a very unusual Dutch name because it sounds more French, doesn't it? Rieu, Rieu. In fact, I'd say that most people would think that this is either a name from Belgium, where French is one of the main languages, or from France, Rieu. But it's not. He's Dutch as apple pie, and so his name is André Rieu. Nice guy, good musician, and his orchestra always dresses up in ball gowns and smokings, and if you have a chance to see him, it's an event, really, that you will likely remember for the rest of your life. So, That's our first name, our first famous Dutch person for the new year. If you have any Dutch names that you'd like me to pronounce, of products maybe, of companies or celebrities, or people that you think are from the Netherlands, leave something in the comments for me and I'll maybe pronounce their name correctly in Dutch the next time. So, see you next time. Tot ziens. Bye bye. Dag.